Alright, it is time for the final day of Oselands. So, we have pretty much just been running through the game as fast as we can because things have felt weird, stuff like that. And we are finally here at the end of the game. We are at OP 10. We are in front of our best farm to exist in the entire game for legendaries. And I've just been sitting here trying to farm out some items and some stuff. And there's not a lot different from vanilla in terms of builds. So we've got a sniper build, we've got our melee build, and then we have a general gun build. But there's one build that interests me, and it's one where we get an OP10 Maggie with the masher prefix, and we just run that with a pistol build. So that is exactly what we are going to try to do right now. We are going to keep farming this vendor until we get a Mash and Maggie, and then we are going to just go delete stuff, because that's all there is to do at this point. So yeah, let's keep farming. So we have our Maggie here. It's a really OP looking one, of course. So it is matching grip, it's got the masher thing going on. So we could farm other equipment for this build, but we don't need to. Realistically, I think most of our damage will just be this Maggie, which is funny because I thought the Maggie was actually trash, but it turns out it only has a chance to be trash, and now it is secretly one of our best weapons. So we are going to run mainly this, with a retainer for movement speed or a B shield for damage. We might either run the rogue or the killer comm. I'm not really sure which one I want to run. And then I'm split. I want to use this cooldown and movement speed relic, but I could also get a two-fang relic going on, and we could just max out our two-fang chance with that. So that would also be a really fun way to handle this, and it would let me like not shoot buttons as hard. So we might go ahead and do that, just for the fun of it. Oh, okay, so we're not doing this build, because it turns out the Shadow of the Seraph's relic reduces your gun damage and fire rate, and gives you an additional projectile, which, I guess, theoretically, on some guns is still technically more damage, but also why? So, yeah, no, it looks like this is it. This is our thing. Maybe we'll put a point into Two-Fang just to have the proc chance, but yeah, we're just gonna spec this out, I guess. Okay, so I went ahead and spec'd out our class mod for our build. So with this, we are going to go a little more general gun build style of damage. We are just picking up whatever damage skills and cooldown skills we can get from right tree. We are basically full speccing middle tree because it is pretty much all useful for what we're trying to do here. And then we've got basically just some crit damage out of here and boar, because boar. Now, with all of that being said though, I am still slightly disappointed and annoyed at the fact that the Two-Fang Chance Shadow Relic meme does not exist in this mod, so we can never truly hit the 100% Two-Fang chance. We can get this close though. We can get 60%, or we could spec with the Rogue and we could get 66, but we cannot do the ultimate funny of having 100%, which is, I am not a fan. That being said though, this should work just fine. This mashing prefix is not balanced, so we should be able to take it up to a boss and just get rid of that boss. So let's go do that right now. So I understand why someone would get rid of Two-Fang, like the Shadow Relic chance stuff, but at the same time, it's a unique item for one character with the specific playstyle, and I think that's what makes it cool by itself. So I wish they wouldn't have done that. I really, really wish they wouldn't have. Okay, so we are here in front of OP10 Terra. We've got that Masher, we've got the Bee, the Legendary Killer, and all that stuff on. I'm just curious if this is going to be as much of a melt as I think it'll be. Okay, so it's not insane, but it's still certainly quite the movement for an OP10 fight. So, yeah, this is a little bit strong still. Okay, so we might have died because I was bad at the game. But I will say, for an OP10 fight, we almost had him done in with, like, very minimal issues, considering we don't have a Grog or anything. Or, well, okay, we have a Grog, but not a Herald to swap it with. Or any sort of panic healing quite like that, quite at that level. So it's a little weird that we're able to just kind of do this to him. That being said, we're going to try out a conference call. Oh my god, it does conference call stuff. Okay, cool. Okay. So, all I learned from that fight is that the game is just easier because the scaling is way, way lighter. That's pretty much it. So, we could go fight every other raid boss that exists in the video game, but I'd get a very strong feeling that it's gonna basically be this. I am curious. These Pearls of Power are providing a bunch of very random skills. So, theoretically, we could find a Pearl of Power that does give plus to Two-Fang, and I think that that's going to be my goal for the entire rest of the day, is just to see if there's a way to force 100% Two-Fang still, without, you know, having the Shadow of the Seraph's Relic, because that would be cool, basically. It's just because it would be cool. Also, we do have our Slayer of Terracom here. So, True Sight, Grim, Rising Shot, and Advanced Training. It gives extra burn damage and max health. So, we've got our extra regen of shield and cooldown. We've got Rising Shot, which is normal. More shield recharge, delay, and fire rate. We've got True Sight for the extra crit and accuracy. And that, I think that's all the skills, right? Yeah, okay. So, that's a class mod. It's kind of cool. I think it does some stuff that some of the other class mods do. I guess you could use it for Rising Shot bug, with shooting out a hive, you know, dropping it, or just shooting it and then respecking to get your Rising Shot stacks up like that. So you could use that for more damage, I guess, probably. But it's just going to be another one of those basic gun-type comms. Okay, so, Hyperia is shoot the guy. We're basically just going for your generic boar kill here. I only really have a conference call and a Maggie to work with though, so it might be a little bit weird. I feel like the conference call should be fine for this though, probably. So let's just start kind of corralling everybody together, put them in front of the man, and just start holding down the click buttons. Alright, all I've managed to do is make him very upset. Maybe the melee build is actually secretly the move, since the scaling is so much different and easier. That might actually be a really good idea. So if we fail here, we might try to spec out into melee. Okay. Yeah, so we did die during the fight. That's totally fair, though. Yeah, a melee spec probably wouldn't be a bad idea for this one. Okay. Just him and one guy left. Go ahead and go invis, throw kunai, that'll bounce right off, and then do that. And it's a start. Obviously it's not going to do much, but it's a start. Okay, so even without a melee shield on, we are able to poke him pretty well. Maybe the melee is secretly the move. Also, Norfleet. Is that a ×1 Norfleet? Yes. Oh, it burst fires now. That's... yeah, cool. Sure. Why not at this point? And a legendary ninja comm? Okay. We actually don't have one, so this is good. And this provides plus to almost everything you'd hope. I wish it had backstab, but like, fair enough, I guess. You know, the movement speed and gun damage is more important. The cooldown would be nice if I was spec'd into that, and kind of fair for the rest of the comm, I guess. So yeah, that's that. Got a Retcher. I think this does Retcher stuff, probably. Yeah, that's Retcher stuff. Madhouse. Pretty much Madhouse stuff. And then we've got a 2-Fang. Okay, we've got 2-Fang on this. So that would give us how much potential? So we could get 66, and then we would have 72, 78, and then 84? So not quite still, with just +3 from that relic. But it is getting closer, which is nice. Okay. Yeah, so I think we can go ahead and just confirm that the game is just easier because we are at a lower overall health pool for us and the enemy, stuff like that. So that pretty much covers that, I think. I'm 99% sure we'll never get a perfect plus like 5 or 6 to 2-Fang relic out of this, because the highest I've seen has been like 4. And even with 4, we're not even breaking 90%, so it's kind of just on that front, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Interesting, I've just picked up the Nirvana, and I showed off the toothpick before, and the toothpick got converted into a 1-pellet gun, but the Nirvana here becomes a 5-pellet gun, because why not? So this kind of just feels like changing it for the sake of changing it, especially when it comes to the toothpick. So I don't understand that at all. So yeah, we could go around, we could go look at the other raid bosses, we could look at some of the loot. A lot of it is going to be either vanilla, changed in a weird way, or slightly too strong. And that's kind of all I've really noticed from this mod, is that it's just a mixed bag of whatever. And I probably wouldn't recommend it, unfortunately. The skill tree is cool. I love the idea of leaning more into Zero's invis time and actually taking advantage of his action skill. I like that. The actual guns, and especially the premier way to farm them, is a little bit weird. So yeah, I'll give a proper review of this tomorrow, but we're done for the day already. So yeah, final day, day 6.